Garrett.
Well, I didn't see Garrett last
Can we get Garrett down here?
Seeing Garrett in sweats, it was exciting.
Oh my god.
Not like sexual. It was like like seeing someone, you know.
Does he not? I don't mean this to sound like I'm roasting him, but does he not wear sweats like when he performs? Because that's like what
No,
I'm.
these are like house
That's
sweats.
like the Garrett I'm
We see him
picturing.
in his outdoor joggers. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's wearing formal joggers. Yeah. Okay.
You're off live. You ready to go?
Yeah. Let's
Ready.
do it.
Silence on.
Oh, we have to do our intro.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Is it the same each time? Is that policy now?
Yeah.
Like the one that you said last time?
Yeah. What did I say?
Do you? Yeah, that's.
Oh, I have it on our notes.
Such a good question.
Oh yeah, where I just say, I'm Jamie Pappas.
I'm Kirsten Michelle Cills.
We're both dying up here, and you gotta stop being weird about it.
I'm sorry.
You have to stop being weird about it.
You said it like
No,
a Mad
no,
Lib.
that was actually perfect because she was weird about it.
It was.
I did.
That's
I just
true.
looked at you as if you could read my mind. Can you
Yeah.
not?
No, you're right. It is the bio
This
in
is
the.
my biggest issue in every
Okay,
relationship
I
have.
actually maybe can think of something right now. I'm serious. Think of
Okay,
something right now.
1, 2, 3. Garrett.
Okay, give me like a category of what you're thinking about.
No, because this is like when you talk to an astrology person and then you tell them what you are and they're like, I could totally
fucking
see
knew
that.
it.
I could
I
totally,
actually-
I knew it. I knew that about you. I'm like, oh, the thing I just said, you knew?
Okay, think of a food right now, and I'm gonna know what it is.
Okay, ready?
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Food's hard.
There's too many foods.
And you know my brain just moves so fast that I'm like, there's like a slideshow of food going on in my brain.
Okay.
Cloudy with a chance of meatballs is raining down.
Okay. I got it. Okay. 1, 2, 3. That one sandwich from the Dutch that you always get.
Wow.
I don't know what it's called. Is
Wow.
that the one?
No, but I panicked because I said cloudy with a chance of meatballs and I was thinking about spaghetti. So I was like, oh, did I just
You actually gave it
buzzword
away.
myself? Yeah.
Fuck.
Meatballs.
Go ahead, do a bit. You started it, and you have to finish it. That's the rule. If you start
I'm
it,
like,
you have to.
should we
do
go
it.
with my list?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I did want to talk about the show that you came to see me on
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and how we were discussing. We've been kind of telling other comics the premise of our podcast.
Yes.
Mostly.
I'm sorry, I want to be clear. Jamie's been telling everyone that we have come across for the last week. I walked into a show and 4 comics were like, we were just hearing about your podcast. It's like, I guess Jamie's here.
Yeah, and I'm in the corner like. Yeah, I don't know. Do you think that's an insecurity thing that I'm worried about what people think of us or what it's going to be like? Or do you think I'm just excited?
I think you're just excited. Were you asking them?
Do you guys like me?
Yeah, were you asking, like, do you think that's a good premise?
No, I
Were
would
you, like,
never
tell me
ask
it's
that
good?
because I don't like when people put people on the spot for
Yeah.
stuff like that.
So if you were just telling them, then I think it's just pride.
No one gives you an honest answer if you were to look at them and say,
Yeah.
well, and you can't ask people if they'll listen to it.
Because everyone has to say yes.
Yeah, but then they'll feel like they're doing their charity for the year.
That's kind of crazy that you say that because as of maybe 24 hours ago, I've had a very big realization that maybe not everybody tells me the truth all the time.
Oh,
Because
boy, I can't wait to get to our roast section of the day because I got a big ol' something to say.
it's kind of. Do you want to just get into it?
The roast?
Yeah, I'm kind of worried I'm living in a fantasy world like Truman in the Truman Show,
Okay.
and it's kind of eating
All
away
right,
at
then
me.
maybe I shouldn't say this.
No. Go ahead.
All right, 2 roasts I wrote.
Okay.
First one is you grew up a theater kid.
That's the roast.
No, yeah, full stop.
Got me.
I wrote more, I promise.
Okay,
I
yeah.
said, Kirsten, you grew up as a theater kid.
Yes, I
Which
did.
We all know that because there's nothing more dramatic than just dying your whole life.
Go on.
The other one is you said that people, and I've seen this, don't recognize you without your oxygen.
Yeah.
And I said, do you think that's because you've never said anything interesting before?
I'm so mad.
I was
I'm gonna stop recording.
Is the camera here so I can just look at it like I'm on The Office every time now?
I can't believe you said what you said to start, because I have written that literally on the way here. Because I was thinking about it. I was like, yes, I've seen people be full stupid and not recognize people with or without glasses, with or without beard, something
Sure.
like that.
Yeah.
But for yours, it's like,
It's also clear. That's what's crazy. The cannula is clear.
yeah.
It's
but
not.
it means that people are just thinking about themselves when they talk to you. But the idea that you're just that boring and people only know you as dying is way too funny to pass up. Like, the most interesting thing about you is that you are not going to last long.
That's actually. Oh my god.
It's not true. You have a personality. We are friends. Oh god.
This is rocking my world because you're fucking right. Wait, can I tell you off mic real quick why?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll cut it.
Okay. Someone in this room told me.
Garrett, are you here?
Garrett told me that he doesn't like the movie Scream. And I thought everyone in the entire world liked the movie Scream. I didn't know, no joke, I didn't know it was possible that there were people out there who did not like the movie Scream. And it made me realize that maybe people have been just telling me that because I have it tattooed on me and because it's my favorite movie.
Yeah, it's more that people want you to stop talking about it. That they just say they like it so you can move on. It's like when people talk to you about the Phillies, they're just like, go Phils, and they run away
Go
as quick
Phils,
as
yeah.
possible.
I just kind of changed everything for me.
Is it refreshing or is it worrisome right now? What stage are you in?
Whatever two is.
Stage 2 of this imaginary process?
It was like 12 hours ago that I got this news, so it's kind of freaking me out. I didn't know that people didn't like.
That actually ties
Things that I
into
like.
something else I wanted to say.
Sure, go ahead.
I feel that way. I try to go to spring training every year.
Yeah.
And it didn't even occur to me that people, like, first off, don't know that spring training's a thing. The Phillies have been in existence since 1883. I don't know how long they've been going to Clearwater.
And every team goes to the
They
spring
go to
training, right?
Right. There's the Grapefruit League and then the Cactus League.
Okay.
Florida, Arizona.
Okay.
And I, a couple times, the story I was going to tell you is one of the last times, maybe in the last 5 years, I was down there for spring training and I went to this mini golf place. I was with my family this year. Because I didn't want you guys to think I went alone mini golfing. And there was a picture of Ryan Howard,
Sure.
famed Phillies
Yeah.
first baseman, at the mini golf place.
Sure.
And I said to the kid,
In Florida?
yeah,
Okay.
because they go there. And
Yeah.
I said to the guy, I was like, wow, Ryan Howard came here. What year was that pick? And he goes, the guy from The Office.
Yeah, he is on The Office.
But I couldn't tell if he was doing a bit, like it was so many bits within the bit work because Ryan Howard is.
Well, I was going to say Ryan
Novak's-
Howard is a character on The Office. Ryan Howard himself also has a cameo in season 9 of The Office.
Correct. So when he said it, I said,
Cut that. That was so embarrassing. In a season, I don't know which one. I have to hardly watch it.
you're like season
Write them in your
9,
fucking notes,
episode
yeah.
6.
Cut that.
His entrance is the whole Subway, the Eat Fresh thing. It's the
Yes,
whole
okay,
thing.
thank you. You know it.
Yes,
Okay,
I
thank
know
you.
exactly because I knew what he was saying, but then it occurred to me, I was like, wow, these people don't even know who the Phillies are, which fine, I get that
Yeah.
people don't like baseball, but it was more like their livelihood is dependent on the money of people coming down for spring training.
They should fucking look it up.
I went down last year and I did go by myself. In this instance, I was alone.
And you were
And I went to a sports bar so they were like, their whole thing was we have like 30 plus TVs. And I went and there was like some sort of horse racing on and not basketball.
Sure.
And I said, can someone please put the Sixers on? And the girl said, wait, what sport is that? And I said, NBA.
No.
And she's like, I have to talk to my manager. And she goes, we don't have the NBA package. And I said, you're a sports bar. I'm watching a pre-recorded horse race. And she said, and I was like, I do not mean to be rude whatsoever. I don't. But how are you going to promote yourself as a sports bar in a town where people from Philadelphia are coming to visit to watch their other team and I can't watch the Sixers game here right now? And she was like, I agree with you. And then it clicked. It was a whole race thing because he had the NHL package.
Oh.
And I was like,
Yeah.
I think there was something about
Florida's
inherently.
crazy.
Yeah, so I watched the game on my phone
At a sports bar with 30 TVs.
by myself. Yep.
You should have just gone mini golfing.
She, I can't do that alone. It was really interesting, but to your thought about, like, thinking, obviously we all are the main character of our own movie.
Yeah.
But there's some things that are inherently, like, the Phillies in Clearwater, you would think people would be a little bit aware for the sake of their money. I get it at home. I'm trying to be more, like...
Yeah.
But I think even with... I realize that's a big thing for me, and I've established that, like, even, like, dating, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I need a sports fan. Doesn't have to be a Philly fan, just at least non-rival.
Sure.
And I accept that people don't like sports, but I also accept that I need them too in my life.
Yeah. I feel like I get really rocked when I am traveling in other cities and there's a Birds game on, and I'll say, like, can you put the Birds game on? And they don't know, they don't say Birds
Nat
there.
Geo.
They, the Birds game.
They're like,
They don't know that we call them
yeah.
the Bird. I mean, it is crazy that we got the rights to Birds when,
It's
like,
crazy
half
that
the
we
NFL
think
teams are Birds.
that anyone thinks how we do with
That's
the
what I'm
state of our
saying.
country, full stop. Like, it's crazy that I walk out the door and think anyone is having the same thought as I do.
I know that not everybody sees things the same way that Philadelphians do, but I do. There is a part of me that feels like blown away that people don't see things the way that Kirsten Michelle
But
Cills
flip side,
does.
that's the whole premise of our podcast, is that we think so differently because of everything that's impacted our lives.
I don't think that liking Scream counts as that. I think it's a fucking good movie.
It's a good movie.
Okay, thank you.
I also have
Jamie,
friends
I'm just
that don't
asking,
like it.
Did you say you don't like it?
No, I have friends. I've heard of people not liking it.
What I'm saying is I've never heard of it. Feels like people have been lying to me for a long time. And now
Objectively, it's one of, like, a well-respected film.
Thank you.
Not
I
everybody.
love when you talk to me like that.
Not everybody, like, your R word.
Yeah.
I
No, I just mean, like, it's my kink when you tell me you like Scream.
yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm like, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, you know what I gotta watch right now? I also think it's okay for people to not like horror films.
That's yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
It's okay to, like,
And most people
how
don't.
I cannot wrap my head around people wanting to watch true crime and stuff.
Yeah.
But that has to do with our whole thing about being okay with death. I never
Yeah.
need to hear about people getting murdered. Because my
No, but I
brain
like
is
it.
already imagining the worst thing ever, so I don't need to be like, knew it.
So you don't like to watch horror and true crime because of
I'll
your
watch
death
horror
thing?
because it's fantasy.
Yeah.
True crime, my brain is already so filled with the worst case scenario thoughts. Like, my type of anxiety is
Yeah.
like already projecting worst case scenarios things that I
Mm-hmm.
don't need to fill my head with it.
That's really interesting to me because I feel like a lot of people who can't stomach horror still like true crime.
Yeah, because I think I have a friend that's exactly like that. My one friend I
Yeah.
was thinking of that doesn't like Scream will
Yeah.
listen to the most horrific podcast.
Yeah, so many
and there's
people
something
do.
about it being real that is like comforting for the brain, I guess is what
Yeah.
it is. It versus the fantastical like elements freak people out more.
And I think I feel like it's comforting for women to listen to true crime because I don't know, it's
Like everything you've been told. That's what I keep hearing people say that. I just hate the phrase.
like, yeah.
I hate the phrase true crime. I used to do a bit about this because I was like, you're just a fan of crime.
Yeah.
There's no false crime. You know what I mean? Like, it's horror.
That's horror, I guess. Yeah.
So it's like saying true crime is insane.
Yeah. I just feel like I mean, I've always liked true crime, I guess, but then it did had a huge, like,
I'm interested
pop.
in stuff,
Yeah.
but it's like, how many times as a woman do I need to hear about a man killing his wife?
It's always
Like, how many times do I
Always.
need to hear about a man getting away with killing like 50 sex workers? Like, how many times do I need to hear that?
We get it. Don't get married. We get it. Yeah.
I'm like, I want to listen to only women serial killers. Like, just fucking flip the switch for me.
That's true. Maybe if there were more women, but there's only
I
a
already have
handful.
such a bad thought about every man that I don't need to listen to true crime.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was just telling a friend of mine about bird watching and how
was it Garrett?
I was talking to a friend of mine about how when I'm bird watching, like, I'm out there alone.
Yeah.
And a guy approached me recently, and it's like, I'm on this beach that's just jets out by itself. You have to drive to get there. Like, it's very isolated. And he started walking towards me, and I was like, what are my options here, basically?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I noted that my camera is heavy, so I do also sometimes carry a weapon on
Sure.
me.
Mm-hmm.
But he just came up to ask me if I had seen a bald eagle, but like he could have done that from 15 feet away.
Fucking go birds, am I right?
I didn't see one, but he got close enough to ask me that. But then I was saying another park I was at, I was saying sometimes men, if they're behind me, will start like making louder noises to acknowledge, like whistling, to like low key acknowledge that they're behind me without saying like, hello, a man is behind you.
Which I do appreciate, yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it, but it's also like, I'm actually out in the world experiencing those things that I don't need to have a podcast also where he's like, and this woman was followed while she was bird watching and got murdered from behind. I don't need that.
Yeah.
It's already literally happening to me every time I leave the house. I'm out in the woods alone.
I think you're onto something because I did like true crime a lot more before I started traveling alone as a comic.
Yeah,
now
and you're in
I travel
hotels alone? My goodness.
Oh my God.
No.
I was in a hotel in Vermont like 2 years ago, and a guy who was like also waiting for his room to be ready. And he was the kind of person who made me realize how Ted Bundy got away with what he did, because he was like very generically attractive, like tall, like very normal.
We
the
love
guy
a
in his
sexy
30s.
criminal.
He was a
I think
sexy
that's what
criminal.
also bothers me about true crime is it gets sexualized.
Yeah, they're like, that fucking daddy was
Yeah,
so bad.
Give me that mugshot, baby.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But this guy came up to me and was like, are you traveling alone? And I was like, and he seemed normal enough that I made a joke. I was like, this feels like a trick question. I was like, no, is what I'm supposed to say. And then he kind of laughed about it.
Because it's the equivalent of where your boyfriend at.
Yeah. And then he was like, do you have a boyfriend? And I was like,
14.
Sure. Yeah. I'm married, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah.
And he's like, he was really normal at first, and then he went, you should tell whatever guy like you're with that he should be traveling with you, or else someone might take you. And I was like,
Good note.
that's such a good point. And then I walked away and I sat in like the little Marriott like area where the people eat breakfast, but then it's empty during the day. And I heard him go up to the front desk lady and say that I was his girlfriend and that he needed a copy of my room key. And the front desk lady knew immediately that I was like incorrect.
Yeah.
And so she did not, my room wasn't ready, but she let me sit.
Did she call the police?
She called the police, and then she let me sit in a dirty room that wasn't clean yet, just so I could like hide. But that's like a notable moment of like, I stopped thinking that true crime was cute at that time. That was probably like 2021.
I think that's my issue, is that people listen to it just as pure entertainment when it's truly happening to women all the time. And I'm like, maybe it's because I already have the wherewithal and like street awareness of things that are going on that I don't find it interesting. Where I'm like, anytime they're like, and then this happened, I'm like, yeah, of course. Yeah. Of course that happened. Like, what are you talking about?
I'm like, I mean, I don't know if I said this already on Mike last week, but I'm a diehard horror fan. Horror's like my whole world. And I find horror movies so unbearably comforting as somebody who's dying.
Right.
And as somebody who saw a lot of people die when I was a kid on 9/11, like in really graphic ways. So I fucking love like really, really graphic.
I think that has to do with one of the other topics I want to talk to you about today, which is the phrase, my worst nightmare. People have said to both of us that our lives, after explaining our lives, are their worst nightmare. To our faces, like as a normal response.
Which is so empowering, I'll be honest.
But they say it, and whenever they say it, I have to say, oh, my life? Because I don't think they hear themselves. And that is
really
always
rude
my
thing
line.
to
They're like, that is, I'll explain. They'll ask me something in which I have to explain that my biological father died. And then they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then I want to comfort them immediately. So I do the like, oh, my mom didn't know she was pregnant with me yet. And then sometimes they get relieved, which I used to do a bit about as well, where I'm like, well, he's still dead. Relax. Because they give me the, oh, I didn't know him. And then they're like, oh, that's not so bad.
Yeah.
And then I like kind of say the mom perspective where like she found her husband dead and then found out she was pregnant 6 weeks later, and then they do the my worst nightmare.
Ay, Dios mío. Yeah. They're so
yes, I only explain it to other Puerto Rican people. But people obviously look at you and say that.
They just look at me. They're like, I cannot imagine looking like you.
But
I
truly,
would fucking kill myself.
They're like, my worst nightmare, like having a sick kid. My worst nightmare. My worst nightmare. And you're like, it's happening to me right now.
Right.
So,
can you imagine like if in the same way that like someone comes up to me and is like, I can't imagine like living your life. Like if we could do that to other people.
Oh, I do.
Like about anything. About
Just,
like being a parent or
when someone's like, I'm going to make
being married to someone who sucks.
Well, that's the thing. I was trying to be
can't
sincere because I think I can't imagine. I had a friend recently say it about something like, I can't imagine being on the dating apps. And I can't imagine dating. I can't imagine this. And I flipped it and said, I can't imagine going home to a husband I complain about every day. I can't imagine going home to someone that you can't bring out because he doesn't want to leave the house. Like, I can't imagine so many things about your relationship.
Yeah.
And I said, I didn't choose my situation. Like, you're acting like I chose to be not loved at 31. You're acting like I chose for my dad to be dead, in which you saying, I can't imagine my worst nightmare.
I wouldn't have personally killed my dad, Jamie. I know you did, and that's fine. But I wouldn't have done it. I was
strong as hell fetus.
Yeah. Like, it wouldn't have been my decision, but I think it's really cool that you did it, that you killed your own dad.
The phrase, I can't imagine, should be banished because, like we talked about in our last episode, is, no, you can imagine, that's why you're sad. You said that. And, like, you're actually imagining. I know it's just a phrase people say. It's like when they say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry he died. And I'm immediately like, what do you... I know we don't have good language around death.
Yeah.
We don't have good language around trauma. People are just now learning about it.
Yeah.
And how it impacts people, and not just like someone died, oh, sad, funeral, it's over.
Yeah.
How it impacts people fully. Like, so what would you say though is your worst nightmare? Like, what phrase would you use that around? Like, my worst nightmare.
How realistic are we getting?
Well, I'll do a silly one. Like, my worst nightmare is like waiting in a line for anything. Can't do it, won't do it. Do not understand why people do it. Like, truly, like, that's a choice. Like, why are you in a line for literally anything?
Yeah. But I guess, well, you're saying it's a choice to be in a line at any time?
Yeah. You can always, if you're able-bodied, yeah.
Have you ever renewed your driver's license, or do you have the same one since
I actually just walked out of the DMV. I walked in, looked at the line, and walked out, and figured out how I could do it online.
No, I really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so you're saying work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, I'm saying everyone's stupid.
If you're listening to this and you're in a line right now, you're a fucking idiot.
But to be fair, that's like an anxiety thing of mine. Like, they don't let you do this anymore. But the last time we went to Disney World as a family, my mom straight up went into guest services and it was like, if my daughter has to wait in a line, we're gonna have a bad family vacation.
Yeah.
And we got fast passes.
I mean, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't have to wait in the lines.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we got that card too.
Yeah.
And it worked. I went back to Disney World that same year for like my high school. Yes, it was high school. My senior trip, and I went into the guest service. It was like, I can't wait in lines, and they were like, here's a pass for
you got a
people to ever ride. I did.
For just not wanting to wait in a line.
Yeah. If you ever seen me wait in a line, you would think there was something very wrong with me. If you've ever seen me look at other people wait in line, there was a donut pop-up shop in my neighborhood recently, wrap around line, and I was getting coffee with someone, just watching the line and being like, and then what?
Yeah.
Then you have a dozen donuts, and then what? If Instagram didn't exist, where you taking a picture, you eating 12 donuts, you got 12 family members, what is happening?
Yeah. No, that's a good, what line is really worth waiting for?
Nothing, because then the mood that changes, the mood that impacts me. Like, when I see people waiting at Angelo's, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, okay.
Oh my God, and it's 50 of the same dudes in line.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I feel like they're creating a community in that line.
Well,
you ever been in a line that's so long that, like, people start becoming friends?
No, do you hear what I'm saying?
Well, you're the one who doesn't want to become part of the community.
The one time...
But sometimes...
I don't, actually, this is an off-mic story, but
okay.
So stupid.
Okay.
My mom, I hate shopping, which has to do with like waiting and stuff and people. Yeah. I think this is just a perspective thing. My mom is very much like, because the I can't imagine kind of phrasing.
Yeah.
She's very much like, oh no, we can imagine. You can do whatever you want to do in life. She's like a very positive, like, if you want something, we're getting it. Mm-hmm. And this is gonna date back to 2006. When was David Archuleta on American Idol?
Thank you for asking. 2006.
It was?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I was a David Cook girl. Sorry.
Oh, you were?
No, I don't.
I was surprised
just
because
saying
you
words
definitely
are
like gay men.
I just
you pulled David
you-
Quick pretty quick.
if you
pretty
throw
quickly.
a bit at me, I am like an Icarus. I will fly too close to the sun. I'm sorry.
We were shopping that day, and my sister and mom like shopping, and I was just sitting in the corner of every store, like miserable.
Yeah.
And my mom was out, and this was like when that brand new mall opened in Atlantic City on the pier.
Yeah,
It was,
yeah.
like, all the nice stores. And they
Wait,
went-
and since it's 2006, did you have headphones in?
oh, definitely iPod Shuffle.
What were you listening to?
Oh, probably like All American Rejects, like Swing Swing,
Dirty
crying
Little
in the
Secret?
corner.
Yeah. Mhm.
And we
Just
looked out the
checking.
window, and they were doing the American Idol tour, was like at Boardwalk Hall at the convention center. And my mom's like, "You love David Archuleta. We should go see David Archuleta." And I was like, "Mom, I don't want to wait in another line. Like, I can't do this."
Not even for David Archuleta.
Oh, Kirsten, we go outside, and my mom steadfast in her belief that I will do anything I want to do in this world.
Love that.
Mostly because I wasn't supposed to be born. So I think she's like, well, this we gotta do something with this kid.
Yeah.
we're waiting. Security keeps coming out. They're like, it'll be 5 more minutes. And then after a couple hours, they come out and they say, oh, the American Idol, actually, they don't have time to come out. So crowd of like 100 people waiting, all just leave. And my mom's like, nope. And I see she gets this crazy look in her eyes when she's gonna do something to get her way, and I
Okay.
just put my head down and do whatever she says in that moment. So my older sister obviously probably making fun of me. And then we go inside, and my mom's like, wait here. And of course she knows a security guard. Goes, talks to someone. And why am I telling this story? And this woman comes up to me and says, just nod to every question I ask you right now. And she's asked me 4 questions. Like, are you with a group? Are you this? She goes, great, thanks. Like, here's your pass. You walk there. And I was like, can my mom come? She's like, no, I only have room for you. And she put me in a group which wasn't not a Make-A-Wish group. And I got in to get autographs from all the American Idol people.
So every way you skip a line is just by pretending to be disabled.
But I think, am I pretending at that point? The thing is, my older sister loves to rag on me thinking it was like Make-A-Wish. I was like, no one's Make-A-Wish is to wait in line and get a signature from freaking David Archuleta. No, on no planet did a parent okay a signature from David Archuleta.
David, no, you're right.
Get
That's
a
your
meet and greet,
Make-A-Wish.
You would
Yeah.
get like a full thing. I know my cousin
Yeah.
had a Make-A-Wish done. Like, that's not like you're going.
Yeah.
And so we went in and did that. And then, of course, my mom like comes back and like is like, see, wasn't that worth it? I was like, no, 6 hours of my life. She wanted me to ask David Archuleta to prom.
You didn't?
No, I panicked. Took a little pic of him with my Canon Power Shot and got the F out.
What would you have done if, unprompted, as you were about to walk away, he asked if you had anyone going to prom with you? Or
I
if
probably would've.
you wanted him to go with you? Would you have said yes?
I would have lost my mind.
Would you really? Wait, this was 2006?
I was freshman year, 14, 13.
Yeah.
So school dance.
So you
or
were
something.
oh, okay, yeah.
No,
You
maybe.
wanted
Let
to
me
take
look
him
up
to, like-
David Archuleta. Oh, sorry, he just texted me. If I'm older, I'm not going to say it out loud.
What's kind of blowing my mind is when you think that you're really close friends with someone and then you don't find out until years later that they're a huge fan of David Archuleta. That's just kind of where I'm at right now.
I mean, have I told you my Zac Efron story?
Yeah, we've talked.
That's
in
one.
depth.
That's one. I wouldn't consider that a line. Good
No.
Morning America. I wouldn't consider it a line because I got there first.
That's true.
So
Because your mom was like, "This is my daughter. She's gravely
oh,
ill."
actually, my mom. My mom swears she has never said anything. Like, she's been completely just honest.
There's 0% chance that's true because my dad is exactly the way that your mom is. My dad is just like that. He gets whatever he wants, and I hear him lie all the time.
Oh, I've never heard my mom lie.
Oh,
She's very charming.
she's super hot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never, that also, but I've never heard her lie. She's just very charming. Like, I've seen her just, and like, also, those people obviously have the capacity to do the things that they do.
Yeah, right.
So, my sister definitely ragged on me, saying that my mom told them that I was mentally unwell
Yeah.
or something.
I did know that you were a diehard Zac Efron fan because I was
Yeah.
too. I was not as much as you were, but
Yeah.
that was when I told you. Do you remember when you told me about Zac Efron?
What?
And we were it was like 2 a.m. in a hotel room in DC. And you decided to tell me about Zac Efron, and then I told you about my Zac Efron, which is Jimmy
Remind me.
Fallon.
Oh, yes.
And I told you to make you feel better. Then you were like, "That's actually more embarrassing."
Yours was back to your thing about getting people treating you differently.
Yeah.
So I love Zac Efron, and it started to be a thing where in high school, like, it was like a joke. People would get, like, anytime they saw Zac Efron, like a folder, like something, they would give me stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference being is, like, for you, like, my parents straight up were like, you can't go to college with this Zac Efron thing. Like, people will think you're weird.
That was. Do you know that I had to change my last name on Facebook, which up until senior year was Kirsten Fallon, and I changed it before I went to college because I literally.
Did someone tell you that?
No, I did it myself.
Okay, see, that's
that's
exactly what I was going to say. Oh, okay. Okay. Miss, everyone likes Scream. And everyone cares about me. What I was going to say is that...
I'm just saying no one's ever told me directly they don't care about me. Statistically.
I'm not going to say it. I'll save that for later. I'll keep that.
We can come back to that because luckily it's on fucking camera.
The self-awareness, thank goodness, because no one wants to tell a kid that's sick no to anything. Like, and I'm not even saying
You're
that
right.
as an
No,
insult.
you're right.
Like, how do you do that?
You're right.
Like, you're like, this kid is already going through so much. How are they going to be like, hey, you're also super weird?
Also, this Jimmy Fallon thing is so embarrassing.
Like, I vividly remember the conversation, my stepdad being like, you're too old for this. Like, this is, like, so weird. And I think I told you that one of my teachers signed in my yearbook, like, hope you meet Zac Efron one day. You really need to. And I met him that summer. And then that teacher just was arrested last year for being a pedophile.
Oh, that's the one.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a full circle.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. He was really, obviously, he wanted me to meet a hot young boy. Duh. Freak.
And he just wanted to watch.
Yeah. He would cut me out of the photo.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was actually, like, talking about, like, trauma and stuff. That was something that hit me recently. That was, like, probably the most surprised and, like, gutted I felt.
About that teacher?
Yeah. Our social studies teacher I was really close with in high school. Had him for 2 years. Like, spent a lot of time after school with him. Like, all this stuff. Was arrested, actually, this time last year. For soliciting sex from underage. Not soliciting sex.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, I will say you did a very good job with, when I saw you at that show on Thursday, you had a killer opening joke that I've never heard you make because we were in the area of your old high school.
Bucks County, baby.
Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, my parents moved out, so I never have any real reason to go back there. And we were there, and I took a big swing making that joke because I think, much like everything we talk about on here, things need to be addressed. Like, they're happening.
And the two people who went before you did not get a lot of laughs, and you went up.
Tough crowd, tough situation, tough crowd.
What's gonna get them is the pedophilia, and it fucking killed. They're big fans.
I
humor.
did that big swing first to realize how the crowd would be in general. Because I was like, okay, if they don't laugh at a dark thing at all, I'll go silly the rest of the way.
Do you want to say what the joke was?
Yeah, so I went back and I said, I don't live in Bucks County anymore. I said that I had to move out of there because dating was really hard for me because once I graduated high school, none of my Council Rock teachers wanted me anymore.
And it killed.
And I asked them...
You would have thought it was Jamie's closer.
I was worried that they weren't going to like it, so I asked them, I was like, stick with me because I have about 5 to 10 to go, much like my social studies teacher.
Yeah, killed.
I felt the need to address it because I didn't want to go there and kind of bury that. Like, I know there's a lot of insidious things that go on in, like, wealthy white dominated neighborhoods and areas
like Richboro. I mean,
no, I don't care. I would say his name right now. We'll link his arrest record here.
Can we add him? What's his name?
Steve Struzinski.
Damn.
Yeah,
that is kind of heartbreaking.
It's devastating. Like, it's so tough to wrap my head around that. And I did this bit on stage last year. I was doing it where I said it's tough to realize that someone was telling me, like, why did I spend all that time doing my homework if he was going to fail me anyway for not being a boy? Like, it's just there were so many things that I was, like, trying to wrap my head around with.
Yeah.
Oh, and the big one was that one time in high school, he told me, I was wearing, like, a neon t-shirt, like, and he came up to me and was like, you don't need to wear such loud colors when you have such a loud personality.
Oh my God.
And the joke I say on stage is, it's not the worst thing that he's done to a 14-year-old. Because it was just like, so that's the first thing that shook me in a long time. Like, I think because we're both see a lot of craziness all the time and have throughout our lives, that I know it can happen to anyone, and unfortunately does happen to a lot of people. But yeah. And I wasn't in harm's way in any way. It just is such a warped thing in my brain that someone that I looked up to, was supposed to be teaching me, was supposed to be keeping me safe, is one of several pedophiles.
Yeah.
At my school. My brain thought versus
oh yeah, your thought. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So for both of us, we're 10 plus years removed then from high school.
Yeah.
So there's even wider of an age gap. So it's insidious that they spend
True.
more and more time grooming, that they get more and more comfortable doing it. So it's little by little that when they finally get caught, they're just being sloppy at that point.
Yeah. No,
and
that's a good point.
They're just fully in on it.
That's a good point. But it was heartbreaking, obviously, because I really respected and liked this guy a lot. But then also was like, oh, so you were.
Oh, my teacher that got arrested has a son that age.
That's crazy.
Because he had a kid when I was leaving my maybe junior or maybe senior year. His wife was pregnant. I remember that.
Well, either way, that joke fucking killed. And I was very...
Thank you.
Yeah. And also, I'm surprised to hear you say just now that like, actually, that gutted you and was, like, a very difficult thing because you
in my
wrote
personal
it off
life.
And played it. Yeah, right. But
there are things that, globally, that... I don't want to like dismiss anything that like there are things that gut me day to day that I see on the news and globally that are going on, but personally that is the first thing that's impacted me in that way, that I was just absolutely stunned, because it just turns your whole world upside down.
Yeah.
Because obviously you start thinking, what the heck else was going on at school? I was never safe.
Yeah.
The people that I'm supposed to trust and were grading me and contributing to my future had brains that were sick and wired horribly. And then it started making me think really even about that. It was like, was he grading people differently? Do they all grade people differently? Like, are the bias different? Like, what if someone had came forward earlier? What if like so many things where I was like, oh, you can't trust literally my brain always goes back to... Yeah,
you can't trust anyone.
Oh, can't trust literally anybody or anything that's going on.
Yeah.
And it's so hard because you want more male... Like, our society needs more men involved with kids. And then when you hear more and more stories, like... Yeah. I know people's first response is like, well, why do guys want to be teachers anyway? I'm like, what the hell? Why do we think that way?
Yeah.
The distance from men caring for kids is what I think is a contributing factor to a lot of that.
Yeah, like the only people who really get into it tend, like, because it is such a uncommon thing for men to be.
Our society is still so far away from men caring for kids.
So
like,
true.
Ask any of your guy friends if they've ever held a baby or changed a diaper. Like, men don't change a diaper until they have to, if they ever have to.
That is crazy.
There's still like a percentage of men that don't even go into delivery rooms. Like,
yeah. This is like something that haunts me to this day. I have a friend who's a friend of a friend, and she had a baby, and her absolute fucking piece of shit husband, who she's no longer with, the baby was a girl, and he wouldn't give her a bath because he thought it was inappropriate.
Goodbye. Arrest. Jail.
Why are you... Police. Why is that inappropriate?
Goodbye.
What is happening to you when you're giving your daughter a bath that, like, you need some distance from it?
Well, that your brain thinks that's a normal thing to say out loud.
It's an infant. Yeah. She's not with him anymore, but I think about that all the time.
Yeah, because he's in jail. Like, you should be, like, having go to some sort of inpatient.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I wish people could go to jail just when they say things.
Oh, immediate. Who wrote that? Someone had put that on Twitter recently, or so maybe it was on TikTok.
What?
Where they think that all men should start in jail and convince why they should be out.
Yeah.
Like,
if you can convince me why.
Why you should be allowed out in public.
If you have a good reason.
Yeah, I think all men should be in jail and have vasectomies first and then prove their worth to society.
That's how I feel about 8th grade boys. I feel like they should all have to be sent away, and then they can come back when they've proven that they know how to act. But I do feel like at that age, it should be an automatic, you get sent somewhere.
Oof. It's crazy now. Do you think like just because we're like really breaking down our childhoods and like how things impacted us, do you have any empathy for people that you may not have had before because you realize like, oh, their parents were doing this when we were like 13? Like, I know my mom's told me stories subsequently of people we knew whose like parents were cheating with other parents in the
Yeah.
school, or like kids that got shamed for certain stuff, or like kids that were sick, or like had things going on at home that were obviously impacting how they were in school.
Yeah.
Like, I had a couple of kids that I knew were, like, annoying, and then you would go meet their parents, and you'd be like, oh, okay. Like, the parents would either smother them or
Big time.
ignore them, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay. But now, do you have people that you have more empathy for?
I have so many people like that because I feel very lucky in that, like, I'm the kind of person who will just like gush about my mom. Like she's just everything that she did in terms of raising us. I feel like she did.
Like, giving you a terminal illness and bringing you to 9/11?
When she saw 9/11 on the news and she's like, "Do you guys want to go?"
Amtrak. Sorry. Your mom is an angel.
No, that was really uncool of her. The terminal disease thing does drive me crazy, though.
Yeah.
I love when she complains
I know nothing
about me being sick. Like, oh my God, are you sick again? Like, it's so inconvenient for her. Where do you think I got this disease from, sis?
Yeah.
Do you know
I
it's
know
genetic?
nothing. I was going to say, I know nothing about the genetics of cystic fibrosis.
It's
What is
genetic.
it?
So both parents,
Have to have
people have to
carry
be
it?
carriers for the disease. And then if you are both carriers, which is already very rare,
Yeah.
if you are both carriers, then your kid has a 25% chance of getting it. So a lot of people have multiple kids and don't even know that they're both carriers.
Dang.
Brad, obviously, my brother, just sits pretty, very healthy, and just everything's great for him.
Did Brad ever fake being sick when he was little? Like, for attention?
He so probably did. Yeah. He fucking hated me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guarantee
Was that
he did.
personality related or illness related?
I think I'm just hard to be around as I'm learning. No, illness related. Yeah, he was so jealous all the time about all the attention that I got.
Yeah.
And who could blame him?
Yeah. No, I mean, any kid getting more attention than anything, it's really hard.
I think it was probably frustrating for him because 9/11 happened and we were both getting a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And then right after 9/11, I got diagnosed with CF. So it was like a real one-upper in that way. And it was like before the year was even up.
Oof.
So I kind of got like two really cool things that like would be interesting to host podcasts forever. And he kind of doesn't host a podcast at all now.
Well, we've talked about this where, I made the joke, I think, before on mic about when people say, like, everyone's uncle was, like, supposed to be on one of the flights.
Yeah,
on
everyone's
9/11.
dad.
Like,
Yeah.
everyone has
That's in
one
my
of
bit,
those,
yeah.
like, yeah.
Everyone's dad.
Yeah. And because where I was in Bucks County, like, a lot of people did travel to
Yeah,
New
yeah,
York for work, so it was always like that. And it was like, was everyone in America on standby for this flight?
Right. The flight was empty, though.
But
No one made it.
I was saying that because I don't know what the term is psychologically, but that people are jealous of your...
There is a term for that I've been seeing people talk about on TikTok. It's this like apparently. Okay, I want to hear if you feel this way because I heard people say this, and I never felt this way as a kid because I was always so sick that I never like faked being sick because that would have been just another day of missing school or whatever.
Yeah.
I never faked being sick, but apparently this was a thing where everyone wanted to
Glasses or
have their
braces?
broken arm, have their arm broken.
Yeah.
Is that?
I think people did want a cast or something.
Everyone wanted a cast.
I wanted glasses, like I wanted braces or something.
Yeah, why did you get so much attention when you came in with glasses? Like anybody.
Yeah.
In like whatever grade. Because I wore glasses.
I guess.
Yeah.
But the traumatic things, like people want people to like be intrigued by them, but in a way that can't be offensive. Like no one wants to get bullied all the time, but like if something crazy traumatic happened to you, people wanted to be like involved in the know.
Definitely. Yeah. Like definitely whenever I was like, okay, so my best friend Savannah tells me this all the time about like when we would be in high school and I would be sick or, in the hospital or something. And the people who I was not very close with, but being the ones who were like first on the scene to tell everyone, like, because anyone who knew me would just be like, Savannah, how's Kirsten? But then there were the people who I was not that close with, but like wanted to be in the know and would be like, boom, breaking news, Kirsten in the hospital. And everyone was like, that's so cool that you know that.
But I mean, 9/11 famously multiple celebrities lied about being present or
Yeah.
embellished their stories about being there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that's something so in your brain. Like what?
Yeah. Well,
Like obviously Steve Ranasazzi was like the big one.
I feel like everybody wants some sort of trauma until you actually have
don't-
it. And
yeah.
then it's,
I can't imagine.
yeah. And then
My
you
worst
can't
nightmare.
fucking imagine.
Yeah, everyone wants like peripheral trauma, like being your best friend. Like,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
know that, but it's actually Savannah was going through a horrific time, like
Oh.
scared for her friend all the time. But people,
Yeah.
is it just people loving gossip? People loving being involved?
I think people do love
Is
gossip.
it that simple?
And I think it's funny to call like me being in
you
the hospital
dying a
gossip.
9/11 gossip.
Like you
But
want to
I'm
be the
just
first
trying
one
to-
to tell everyone about 9/11.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to understand like why someone would want to feel that way. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think I remember the first time and this is me having a fucked up comedian brain.
Great.
The first time we were like probably out and you were like really detailing what happened in 9/11 in your family, and my brain was like jealous. Stories forever, you know what I mean?
Truly,
and then
yeah.
then I like thought about like what the hell did you just say?
Yeah.
Like, to me, like my brain, like
Right.
like angel devil conscious going like, dang, she's got bits forever. People always want to talk to her about something, like everything, and it's nothing like maybe too personal. Like it was just so.
No, you know what I think it is? You know how like if you get really, really hurt,
Yeah.
your body is programmed to like release a lot of endorphins so that you don't feel it. Like you're meant to like, or you go through trauma and your body makes you forget it basically.
Yeah.
Because that's like the way that it should be designed. I feel like it's actually by design. It's actually by design that if you go through trauma, you get attention for it. Like that's your reward for the fact that you went through trauma.
Is that like community comes around you?
Yeah. And people think that your stories are cool. Like that's what you get. Like, yeah, I still have to take sleeping pills every night because of my crippling PTSD from 9/11, but I do get to make jokes about it on stage. And that's like the one benefit.
Is there something about it? This is gonna sound whatever. It might be a little messed up. There's something about like having a sense of purpose in life that like makes people like go.
Yeah.
on. So a lot of people maybe like having a traumatic event and like getting through it gives people some purpose because like you know this is such a basic level, but whenever we are talking to people and say like, oh, what do you do for work, they always go like, oh, it's boring, like whatever, like as if your life has to be what you deem as exciting to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to talk to people when you say you do stand-up comedy or you have a traumatic anything because people then feel shied away about talking about themselves.
Oh, I can't. Something that drives me crazy, not in an angry way because I totally understand it, but when someone is sick or someone like comes back to work or school after being sick for a while, people are like, how are you feeling? And they're like, oh, I was so sick. It was awful. Oh, I'm sorry, Kirsten. I shouldn't say this in front of you. I'm like, you were also sick. People,
relative to your body. Yeah.
There can be multiple people in the world who are sick at one time. I don't have a monopoly on being sick. And it always makes me feel shitty when it makes me realize that people do feel like they can't talk about
talk to you. Yeah.
things like that. I mean, I don't know if you feel that way when people talk about like anything with their parents.
Well, you know,
like complaining about their dad.
Whenever I always love to say brag, like if someone even brings up their dad, just to kick them in the pants a little bit, because I have had people say like, "Oh, my dad did this, and I was like, "Do you know how much like I would kill to
say that
just to complain about how your dad set the table or whatever you're mad about right now?" Well, you know, in light, just totally joking. But I do see people get like, ooh, like, and then they get really uncomfortable. I'm like, I'm kidding. Like, my life is totally fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, but like, it's not nothing to do with my dad anymore at this point.
Yeah.